Wake up before the sun. Not because you want to. Because somewhere in your village, a man with a clay tablet is already walking toward your house, ready to write your name down if you're late. You step outside. The sky is still gray, your children are still sleeping, and before the day even begins, there's a knot in your stomach. The tax collector waits quietly. He doesn't shout. He doesn't argue. He simply presses lines into wet clay, as if every mark is a small piece of your future being sealed away. In the world's first empire, your life didn't belong to you. It belonged to what was written about you. Your work, your debt, your land, all captured on a tablet that survives longer than your house. One stroke could change everything. So here's the problem the empire faced. How do you control millions of people who don't speak the same language, don't share the same gods, and don't particularly like being ruled by you? And here's the answer they built. A system so organized that fear wasn't their main weapon. It was. Welcome to the Saturated Show and to the Empire Timeline, a journey from the first civilization to the last great power. Today's episode, how the First Empire controlled people, taxes, and rebellions. Last episode, Sargon rose from an abandoned child to the king who united dozens of rival city-states into the world's first empire. Akkad became the center of everything: trade, armies, temples, power. But conquering cities is simple. Controlling them is the real war. Different languages, different traditions, different loyalties. Every one of them ready to rebel the moment they sensed weakness. Sargon understood something most conquerors miss. If you want an empire to last, you can't rely only on soldiers. You need a system that works even when the king is asleep. Today, we look at how the Akkadian Empire built that system, step by step, until ordinary people no longer felt like individuals, but part of a machine much larger than themselves. Long before paperwork became a modern headache, ancient scribes had already mastered it. Clay tablets were everywhere. Lists, accounts, deliveries, labor hours, events, everything became a permanent record. Scribes weren't warriors. They were the empire's memory. And memory is power. A tablet stored your grain tax, your animals, your debts, your mistakes. Once baked, the record outlived you, your children, and even your house. Think of it as the earliest version of a database. Except the files can survive for thousands of years. Tax was the backbone of the empire. Grain, sheep, fish, dates, labor. Nothing was free. Collectors arrived seasonally, and people feared them more than soldiers. Not because they were violent, but because they carried the one object no one could argue with: a tablet. A farmer might beg, saying the flood ruined his crop. His wife might be sick. His kids hungry. The collector listens, but the stylus keeps moving. The real cruelty wasn't physical punishment. It was the quiet precision of record-keeping. Capital storage rooms filled with grain while villages struggled. The empire didn't see this as unfair. It saw it as necessary. And in a way, it worked. People adjusted their behavior because they knew the record would remember even when everyone else forgot. So here's the sharper question. If your government kept a permanent record of every choice you made, how much would that change the way you live? Sargon knew that numbers alone couldn't hold an empire together. He needed people on the ground, handpicked loyalists to oversee cities far from Akkad. So he placed governors in every major region. They weren't local. They weren't neutral. They were extensions of the king. Their job was simple: observe, report, correct. And to support them, Sargon built one of history's earliest communication networks. Roads, relay stations, couriers, boats, everything optimized for speed. Not for trade, for control. A message might leave the capital at dawn, travel through 2 or 3 checkpoints, and reach a distant city in days. Orders were swift. Punishments even swifter. It was like receiving a "can we talk" message from your boss, delivered on horseback. And you already knew the answer wasn't going to be good. For the first time in history, a king didn't need to be physically present to govern. His decisions, sealed on clay, moved faster than rebellions. This turned the empire into something dangerous. Not a collection of cities, but a single connected system. And it forces you to wonder, is it more frightening when a ruler stands in front of you, or when his influence reaches you without him ever appearing? Even with the taxes and surveillance, rebellions were constant. People don't like losing freedom. They don't like foreign rule. They don't like orders delivered on clay. Sargon created a solution that every major empire copied for thousands of years: a permanent, standing army. Soldiers weren't stationed at the borders. They lived inside conquered cities. They walked through markets. They guarded temples. They watched everything. They didn't look heroic. They didn't look glorious. They looked efficient, frighteningly efficient. If a city rebelled, punishment came fast. Walls dismantled, leaders removed, fields ruined. Not because the king enjoyed destruction, but because one example could silence 10 potential uprisings. Royal inscriptions bragged about victories in exaggerated language. It wasn't boasting for entertainment. It was messaging. If you crushed one rebellion loudly enough, others wouldn't dare to start. Villagers far away heard the stories. Smoke rising from a distant city. Whispers in the marketplace. Sudden silence in a town that used to be lively. Fear spreads quietly. And once fear settles, control becomes effortless. So the deeper question is, does an empire rule people with soldiers? Or with the stories those soldiers leave behind? Military force can suppress people. But if you want loyalty, you need something stronger: belief. The Akkadian Empire understood this well. Across the empire, temples slowly shifted their focus to a unified set of gods. Local gods weren't erased, but they were repositioned behind the empire's narrative. Sargon's daughter, Enheduanna, played a crucial role here. She wrote hymns and poems that blended local traditions into imperial ideology. People sang them. Priests recited them. Cities repeated them. It was cultural engineering. Festivals did the rest. Large gatherings, food, music, processions, shared rituals. They gave people the feeling that they belonged to one story, not many. Imagine a system where you don't just follow the empire. You celebrate it. It worked because it targeted something deeper than fear: identity. And people chant the same songs, offer the same prayers, march in the same festivals. They start seeing themselves as part of the same world, even if they weren't before. It's not brainwashing. It's the slow warming of loyalty. And it leaves us with one final question. When people obey willingly, is it still control? Or has the empire simply taught them how to think? Today we saw how the world's first empire built something far more powerful than a large army. It built a system. Record keepers who never forgot. Governors who never hesitated. Messengers who never stopped. Soldiers who never questioned. And festivals that made everyone feel like they were part of something bigger. A structure so well designed that even those who hated it ended up participating in it. But this was only the surface. Because behind every tablet, every soldier, every ritual, there was one man pulling the strings. And the empire was shaped entirely by how he lived, how he thought, and how he ruled. Next time, we step inside his world. Not as villagers, but as flippant observers standing behind the throne. Day 4, inside the life of Sargon, the orphan who learned to rule the world. Don't miss it.